On this, France 24's international affairs editor Shirli Sitbon joins me on set. Hi, Shirli. So what else do we know about the deal itself? What's in it?
Well, much of it is still unknown. There's confidentiality issues, but the main guidelines, the main lines in it are known. Let's first look into what is happening, if we can really bring it down. That more than 100 groups, 100 armed groups, are now fighting in DRC. And, well, there are various routes to this. Of course, going way back into history with the colonization, the scars left behind, the 1994 genocide in neighboring Rwanda. Some of the Hutu, some of those who were involved in the genocide, who fled to neighboring DRC, vowing to liberate Rwanda and founding various groups, including the FDLR, the Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Rwanda. And for Rwanda, they are a threat to the country, saying that they will fight them for their own security. That brought to, of course, violence. Of course, the M23, we've talked about that group. Rwanda has been accused of funding and backing that group, which Rwanda said, well, we did not do directly. And that group has seized many territories, including Goma in the east of the country. And that has been ongoing. So what does this plan, this peace agreement have in it? Well, we can see several bullet points if we have them. The main thing is territorial integrity, respecting that. Also, prohibiting the hostilities and the disengagement and disarmament of non-state armed groups. That's in theory. But the armed groups in question are saying, we're not involved in this. So the question is, how will this be applied? And the DRC is hoping that the United States will help. And that's why, to get the help of the United States, because, it's easy to say that either country can participate, can help, can back these groups and needs to disarm them. It's difficult to do. And so they're hoping that this economic deal you were talking about, allowing the U.S. to invest in the minerals in DRC, and so having access to all of these minerals, well, this will push the Americans, will persuade the Americans to help the authorities in the Democratic Republic of Congo to help dismantle these groups and to bring back security. That's the goal, but of course, everybody knows that this minerals is great for great resources for vehicles, electric vehicles, but also they're also some of the root causes of the conflict, with many groups trying to seize these minerals to fund their actions, their fighting, and all that violence. So yeah, it's extremely complicated, and some people criticizing the fact that that DRC will have to give up some of its own minerals, its riches, to other countries just for its security, and even to Rwanda, because it's a major security deal, and now we're having these various points, and so Rwanda would have some advantages there. So people in DRC have been criticizing this deal and saying that it's very opaque, and but still the goal is to try and bring some security back.
So we shouldn't forget, Shirley, that the humanitarian situation, meanwhile, in Congo is amongst the worst in the world, and actually most of the victims aren't dying from the armed conflict itself.
Yes. A lot of violence from the conflict, but a lot of malnutrition, lack of medicine. Millions and millions of people have been displaced. And while we're seeing all this suffering and diseases spreading because there's lack of medicine, a lack of vaccines, well, the international funding are crumbling. We talk a lot about the United States. Also, other countries have stopped funding, have cut down their funding, and have not stepped up to replace the U.S. funding. So let's listen to Tom Fletcher, who is an emergency relief coordinator at the UN, explaining the importance of the U.S. funding for the people in DRC.
Here in DRC, 70% of our programs were funded by the American taxpayer. Amazing generosity over decades. And now we're seeing most of that disappearing. And so we're having to make brutal choices, life and death choices. And for these women, the survivors of sexual violence, for the kids who told me they needed water, for the communities that told me they needed shelter, medicine, these cuts are real right now, and people are dying because of the cuts.
Shirli Sitbon, thank you very much. And as a reminder, we'll be covering, of course, that deal once it is signed here on France 24, so do join us later on today for that if you can.